Welcome. Thank you again for taking time out of your day to join me. For the past week, I've spent a lot of time on the 17-inch PowerBook G4 from 2004. And it's time to let you know what my findings are. I did do one further upgrade before we start letting the computer speak for itself. I did add what are actually MacBook Pro feet onto the back of it, so it doesn't sit right on the back of the computer, which hopefully will get rid of some of the scratching. So I think probably the best thing at this point, rather than talking about it a lot, is to boot the computer up and let's let it speak for itself. So, join me on that. Stay tuned. Well, here's the PowerBook. The first test we're going to make here will be testing the boot up time. And I'm going here from the moment I pressed the button. All right, and we are booted. So, I was a little late hitting that. I think it's probably closer to 1 minute, which really, for a machine this age, is not that bad at all. And I think that SSD does help it some. All right. So I apologize for the fact that we can't really get much closer about this Mac, but we can zoom in some anyway. All right, so we have a 1.5 gigahertz PowerPC G4 and the 2 gigabytes of DDR SD RAM. I'm sorry, this has to move around when I move the mouse. Okay. Nothing too much of interest there. This is awkward, isn't it? Okay, ATA. The ATA bus. The optical drive first, of course, and here we have the reads 128, 118, but it's really 128 by modern terms. Okay. In Bluetooth, Apple Bluetooth software version 2.1, the Bluetooth does work. A little awkward. My PowerBeats Pros are not really working awfully well, but my Bose Quiet Comfort headphones work very, very well. All right, and disk burning. And we do have both a CD and DVD writer that is proving very, very important, and both reads CDs and DVDs as well. One of the things that this machine has proved to be a godsend for is target disk mode. You know, I can see what's going on very easily once I put it in target disk mode, and I have so many of these older Power Macs with optical drives that are either questionable or simply not working at all. This is made a very easy way to address that. All right. Fiber channel, firewire. Graphics. ATI graphics. 128 megabytes of VRAM. The memory, 2 slots, both populated. Not really anything else. USB, you'll note it says high-speed bus, so it is USB 2. And I think at this point we can zoom back out because that is getting a little awkward, and close System Profiler. All right, looking at the programs we have running here. The PC App Store. It is a very handy way of getting apps of a number of different kinds very quickly. I still spend a lot of time on both Macintosh Repository and Macintosh Garden getting applications, and a lot of them that I've simply saved. But this is a handy thing. I'm glad it does exist. All right, and it looks nice in the dock. All right, since we're right here, the internet. .10.4 actually starts up pretty quickly here. And if you go to the right web pages, oops, mistyped. Just reaching around the all right, and this is my website. Pictures of performances. That's a link to the YouTube channel, which used to be all banjo music. Various reenact. This was kind of a cool one. This was taken, I believe, at the 150th reenactment of the St. Albans Raid. There was the Banjo Cave. I always liked this. I was playing for dance at a place up in the Catskills. Okay, so maybe we should go to something a little more challenging. And this will be more of a stress, to be sure. You can see that it's taking its time. Okay, and here it is. It's still loading though. So if we were to it can't really scroll very well. Everything, of course, to do with the coronavirus. And it's still loading. I'm just clicking on a random article, opinion piece about reopening America. And boy, is it slow. And it still isn't loading. And now it finally starts to come open. All right. Now there is another option. 10.4 Fox is not going to want to close. Okay, there we go. Now, I don't mean to be complaining about 10.4 Fox. I am grateful that it exists, but we do have Leopard WebKit. And it's loading YouTube. That's primarily what I use this for. It does play YouTube. I'm not going to do that now. It's pretty similar to the way YouTube played on the MDD FireWire 400. That's got a slightly slower processor than this, but it's very watchable. But what I was going to do, go to CNN here. And there you can see, CNN has loaded up much more quickly. It is still loading, but way faster. Here's an article about American craft brewers and their problems in the current crisis. And that's opened up and it's readable much, much, much more quickly than 10.4 Fox. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that WebKit is fundamentally Safari. And as such, it's a lot lighter because it is interwoven with the operating system in a way that 10.4 Fox cannot be. All right. Now, I'm going to skip ahead to iCal. This will help to illustrate things. I subscribed to a U.S. holidays calendar. Got St. Patrick's Day on it, daylight time, April Fool's Day. Skipping ahead, Easter coming up. There won't be any Easter services. Just as a way of demonstrating that iCal does work. You can still subscribe to calendars on it. You can put in entries. All of that works absolutely fine. WebKit was unable to load the page on which I got the calendar. 10.4 Fox loaded it up with no problem. WebKit is the way that you watch YouTube on this machine. 10.4 Fox is very difficult. That day may come to an end. 10.4 Fox is still under development, and they release maybe about every month, maybe every 2 months, there's a new version that comes out. Very valuable. WebKit has not been under development since 2016. It still works, but gradually we're going to find more and more pages that it cannot deal with. How long it continues to play YouTube? Well, I suppose I'll find out. Email 10.4Bird, this being a more powerful machine than some. it opens up much, much more quickly. It'll probably bring in some, yep, it just brought in an email message, which I'm not going to read. Okay, but yeah, you can deal with that on 10-4-Bird very, very well. It's an excellent email program. The address book works. It comes pre-populated with a card for Apple. It makes one for you when you create your user account on the computer. John Jones, that's not a joke. My grandfather was actually named John Jones. And he was president of the First National Bank and Trust of Atmore, Alabama. All right, so the address book does work. Not interoperable, of course, with address books the way Macs are today, but it is functional. We've seen iCalendar already. iTunes, we can open up iTunes. We saw how iTunes was still functional. I believe it was on the Quicksilver where I tested that and it worked, and then retested it on the dual PowerBook G4. I am not going to repeat that again. One of the problems we have here is that I'm running out of available computers which I can authorize iTunes on. But this version of iTunes is very functional. All right. iPhoto, I didn't put any photos in there, but we've seen on previous ones that it has worked. iMovie HD. If you go back and look at the video I did about the PowerBook G4, I actually created a new project, My Great Movie. Yeah, I actually edited that video on iMovie. It's pretty typical, much not as fancy looking as today's iMovie, certainly, but you import all of your clips into this area, drag them down here into your timeline, and apply your editing as you'll go. All right. iDVD would work since we have a DVD burner in this machine. I'm not even going to take the time to go into that, though, because I'm not going to burn a DVD. GarageBand. I have not tested GarageBand. I really should. It looks rather different from modern GarageBand, of course. But, I mean, you can put in your multiple tracks, etc., and work within those tracks. I'm not sure what else you can do. Oh yeah, you can send a movie to iDVD and make your own movie. All right. Yeah, there are obviously a lot of things you can do with modern GarageBand that you're not going to be able to do here. Okay. iWeb. Okay, yeah, iWeb keeps bugging you, and it won't let you continue with iWeb unless you sign into your .Mac account. The machine is unable to sign you into your .Mac account. Now, if you try to sign in, it will fail, and then you can go ahead and use iWeb anyway. Oh, yeah, duh. Don't show this message again. And there it opens up iWeb. Okay, so you can make a basic web page there. I was not going to demonstrate that. Time Machine, again, works. System Preferences. There's not really a whole lot to look at in System Preferences, though there is one thing I did want to point out. iScroll 2. The trackpad on the PowerBooks are very limited. There is a click bar, a button bar that you can press, as opposed to just pressing down on the trackpad itself. Scrolling was not possible. That's what iScroll 2 does. It's an open source project. It is still available to this day. You can search for it. Or is it? It might even be available in the PVC App Store. Hadn't thought of that. Let's see that. Add-ons and plugins? Nope. All right, so that doesn't appear to be. But yeah, you just search for iScroll 2. You'll come up to it. It is available to this day. Enables vertical scrolling and horizontal scrolling. The tap doesn't appear to work in terms of being a functional way to actually tap, to actually click. Yeah, I'm trying to do it. It's not working. However, once you've installed that and configured it, you go to the normal trackpad entry in System Preferences, and suddenly you've got a lot more options here. 2 fingers to scroll, horizontal scrolling, and zoom while holding the Option key, etc. All right, so we can quit System Preferences. All right, Productivity, NeoOffice. It is slow loading, although it is to this day, even on new machines. All right, now it's giving you the cursor. That doesn't mean it's ready. Now I'm talking here and killing a little time. Let's see if it's ready now. See, now I'm typing. Okay, now it's ready. Okay, so it's just a little patience. Once it's loaded and ready to go, it's actually very responsive and works very, very well. Print Shop. All right, in order to actually use Print Shop, I would have to go into, well, I suppose I can do that. Documents. And open the image of the CD. Or you could burn a CD and actually physically put it into the drive if you wanted. Now, having done that, you can open Print Shop. Choose your Quick Start template. Okay, and now it's done. Takes a while there. All right, you can move your elements. Get the background. You don't like the background? We can insert a new panel background. The scrolling, for some reason, doesn't work here, which is unfortunate. Holidays and celebrations. birthday. We'll do cake slices. Why not? All right. So we can move our elements around. Put that up there. Put that up there. Maybe move this down. Okay. Maybe I want to make that bigger. Now I'm going to have to resize this so that all that text comes in. Okay, now we could get rid of this, but I think instead I'm just going to put an image in. Now you can, oops, my mistake, put an image in. We'll make it a photo. Go once again to holidays and celebrations. Select birthday. Now, once I begin scrolling, then suddenly we see the birthday images. Oh, maybe we'll put a yummy birthday cake in. All right, obviously we're going to want to center that. A little easier to do with a mouse. I still want to get that moved over just a touch. And that's too much. All right. We'll call that close enough. And there's our online greeting. You can, there is, in dealing with the online greeting, an option to send the online greeting where it puts it into your email program. I find it better at this point to just export the image. It'll save it in the desktop or wherever you want to save it as a JPEG, and then you can attach that to your email. All right. But this is all just a demonstration, so we're not even going to save that. All right. And since we're done with Print Shop, oh yeah. Okay. Let's see. Oh yes. iWork. Here we have pages. And Pages does become more responsive much more quickly than NeoOffice. I tend to go to NeoOffice just because I'm so used to it. And we also have Numbers to do spreadsheets, Keynote. I know that Office 2008 will run on this. I don't know that I have even loaded it up. No, I haven't even put it on. But yeah, it'll run and actually works pretty well. I believe Office 2011 would probably work as well. All right, so there's the applications. I suppose, are we doing it on time? Well, okay, yeah, this is going to run a little bit long. I was going to go back and play one of my YouTube videos, as I often do. I don't think I'm going to do that in this case because it works about the same as it did on the MDD Firewire 800. So yeah, I think we're cool. All right. Now, one other thing, I've been stress testing the battery. This has all been done on battery. I've had the battery going since about 5:40 this afternoon. Some of the time it's been on standby with the case closed. Other times I've been using it. I've been using it through this demo. It's down now to about 27%. So I think it would be fair to say that under normal use, you'll get maybe 3 hours on the battery. I did a stress test on the battery early on, just watching YouTube after YouTube video after video after video. And the result for that was about an hour, maybe a little more than an hour of battery time just watching videos. So, I mean, I would imagine if you put a DVD in there and played a movie, you probably use the battery up at about that rate. You couldn't play an entire movie and still have charge in the battery. And it's hanging right now at 27%. So yeah, for light use, I wouldn't go away from the house for an extended period of time. You're now running on reserve battery power, son of a gun. Oh, see, it just skipped down to 5. So we're probably not going to make that full 3 hours. All right. So I think we're going to end this clip right now, and I'll be back with some final thoughts. And we'll plug this back in so we can start to charge up again. All right. So stay tuned. Well, I will say first of all, I very much enjoyed my week with the PowerBook. It's a very good machine. It remains so to this day. I'm awfully glad I have it, and I paid $90 for it. Where it's been particularly valuable to me in this little hobby that I have is for target disk mode. The optical drive works perfectly well. It's a CD DVR burner as well. It's been great for dealing with some of these old Power Macs that have failing or questionable optical drives. Worth the money for that alone. Now, the big question, could I, in this day and age, 2020, use the machine as my primary portable computer? It's a qualified use. Now, qualified, for one thing, I have a perfectly functional 2015 MacBook Pro that does everything I could possibly ask a laptop to do. There's no point in going back to this machine. The size of the machine is a 17-incher. It's very heavy, as laptops go. Leave that aside, because that's not really the machine's fault. It works. It does a lot of things, as you've just seen. And for light computing duty, yes, it could work. Now, it is showing its age. There are some issues here and there. One, the right speaker is not working. Now, I checked the connections when I had it opened up. It looked okay. I didn't see anything. I suppose I could replace that speaker if I needed to. I'm probably not going to. I will state that the quality of the speakers is not that great anyway. The 3.5 millimeter headphone audio out jack works fine. USB speakers would work fine. I couldn't get my PowerBeats Pro to work. It does have Bluetooth, but the PowerBeats Pros were not reliably connecting. that could be an issue with my usage of the PowerBook Pro. I've had some issues keeping them connected to even my modern iPhone. However, my Bose Quiet Comfort Bluetooth headphones connected with no problem and work perfectly well. So you could use Bluetooth external speakers. If you're going to listen to music on this machine, you'd have to use some sort of external audio play. What else? Oh yes, the keyboard. There are some issues there, and hopefully that keyboard isn't failing. The control key doesn't work. I noticed that right away. The control key wasn't working because out of the box there was no way to get the right-click context menu using the trackpad. And when I would click on the trackpad and hold the control key down, nothing would happen. And I just went, Jesus, there's something about this particular machine where that doesn't work, or what? But no, I eventually discovered it just doesn't work. Now, you can do two things. You can plug in a USB mouse, then you can right-click to your heart's content. The iScroll at 2 does mean if you hold two fingers down on the trackpad and click the click button on the pad, then you get it. That works fine. I did eventually, once I'd figured out what was going on, I remapped in System Preferences. I remapped the caps lock key to Control and found that it worked. Now, personally, for my use, I always disable the caps lock key anyway because I find it more trouble than it's worth. Clumsy fingers, I hit it. I find myself typing all caps when I really don't want to. So that was a good workaround for me. Also, the Command key or Apple key on the left-hand side of the spacebar doesn't work. Now, there is a Command key to the right of the spacebar. That works fine. So there is Command key functionality. Now, in addressing these problems, I mean, I suppose I could replace the speaker. I could replace the keyboard. You know, that's all very doable, and it's a pretty darn easy machine to work on once you've unscrewed all of those screws. I could replace the battery if I can find a battery for it that will hold more of a charge. All of those things could be done, and if I were going to use this machine as a regular portable computer, I might very well do all of those things. For now, it's working fine just the way it is. It'll be a great machine to have for target disk mode. Power PC that I can carry around the house with me to use in other places. So I'm very glad that I have it. All right. So I think that winds up the PowerBook saga here, and these little 3 videos that we put together on it. And I hope you've enjoyed looking back at it. I have certainly enjoyed having it, working with it, reminiscing about how I used to use that machine just to get so much very important work done. So, we'll have something else for you coming up soon, I'm sure. But for now, be good to other people. Be good to yourselves. And in these very perilous times, take very good and careful care. We'll see you soon.